Good morning, everyone. We are the Group 1, and our topic for today will be all about subsurface drainage systems. So, in this presentation, we will be tackling about what is a subsurface drainage system, types of subsurface drainage system, such as sump and sump pump, interior perimeter drain or the French drain, exterior perimeter drain or the peripheral drain, and lastly is the interceptor drain. So what is a subsurface drainage system? Subsurface drainage describes the process of removal of that water which has infiltrated into the soil in excess of the amount that can be held by capillary forces against the force of gravity. Subsurface drainage is the most effective way to relieve hydrostatic pressure and lower the water table around a foundation of a house. Most groundwater infiltration problems are easily corrected by the roof and surface drainage measures outlined in the previous sections, but in extreme cases when the building site slopes severely toward the building or if the water table consistently rises above the basement or crawl space floor line, there is need for a more complex solution to these groundwater infiltration problems. So the types of subsurface drainage system. First is the sump and sump pump. A pit or reservoir called a sump can be located in the basement or crawl space floor. It is used for collecting water that is discharged by a sump pump. Some building contractors find it cost-effective to install a sump in the basement slab in case a problem develops. They add a sump pump system only when a problem with subsurface water exists. A building can have one or more sump systems. So here is how a sump pump looks like. So as we can see, it is located on the basement. So here we have a pit where the sump tank is located and the sump pump on the bottom part of the sump, and a check valve and pipes that leads to the outside of the house and then this is where the water will be pumped out of the sump tank and then goes or flows through the discharge pipe and then is directed to a drainage area. So here are more pictures of how a sump pump installation looks like in real life. So here in the first picture is a sump pump, a sump in a crawl space floor, and the other picture is a view into the sump where a sump pump is situated in the bottom of the sump. And another picture is an exterior sump discharge line that is connected to the sump system at the basement, and then an exterior perimeter drain placed against a foundation wall during construction of the home. And lastly is a below slab floor drain. A flooded basement is a homeowner's nightmare, so it is beneficial for homeowner to have their own sump and sump pump system as to prevent such disaster to happen. A sump pump protects your home from heavy rains and rising waters that leave behind enormous repair costs and structural damages. Sump pump moves water from your basement out of your home. A sump is a naturally constructed pit, usually a hole carved below the main surface of your basement floor. This pit, known as a basin, holds the sump pump. The pump is equipped with valves that sense escalating water levels or pressure. So when the water gets too high, sump pumps automatically pump excess water out of the basement and away from your property using a discharge line. This line, called an effluent, connects the sump pump to a designated drainage area. So sump pump water discharges to a designated area, such as a dry well, a creek or pond, or even a neighborhood drain. So why use sump and sump pump systems? Some pumps are necessary in homes prone to flooding. Whether it is from above average rainfall or basements built below the water table, flooding can be disastrous for your home and your health. Even if your home does not flood, moisture can cause several types of mold that increase the risk for upper respiratory infections, allergic reactions, and asthma complications. So, if you don't have a way to move water outside, it's going to accumulate and eventually flood or dampen your basement. So, it is necessary to have a sump or sump pump system in your basement when this happens. So, why do some pumps fail? Just as how some things fail, some pumps could also fail. This may result due to installation, machine, and lifespan errors. Also, pump errors can result from continuous cycling or switches that get stuck on or off. Lastly, some pumps, like any machine, have a lifespan which is often between 7 to 10 years depending on the amount of usage. So another type of another type of subsurface drainage system is the interior perimeter drain or the French drain. So this is how a French drain looks like. It has a trench, a gravel, a perforated pipe, and a landscape fabric. So the French drain is okay. You can use a French drain when you have a soggy yard or a wet basement. So water always flows downhill and by the easiest route possible. That's the basic component behind a French drain. A French drain is a slightly sloped trench filled with round gravel and a pipe that diverts water away from your house. So water travels freely through pipe which empties a safe distance from the house. French drains provide an easy channel for water to flow through. Water runs into a gravel-filled trench, then into perforated pipe at the bottom of the trench. An interior French drain intercepts water as it enters your basement. It's the surest method of keeping your basement dry and a better option than a footing drain. As much as footing drain is also an option, French drain is much a better option as it collects water that is accumulating below the surface, not above it. The trench bottom should be sloped about 1 inch for every 8 feet in the direction you want water to flow. Depending on the situation, the water can be diverted to a low-lying area of your property, a drainage ditch, a dry well, or to the streets. So, when do you need a French drain? So you need a French drain when you have a problem with surface water such as a soggy lawn or a driveway that washes out, and if water is getting into your basement or if you're building a retaining wall on a hillside.
Exterior perimeter or peripheral drain. You've got all kinds of drains in your house. Every sink and tub has a drain, and there's likely a drain next to your washing machine. But did you know that there's a very important drain located outside of your home? This is known as your perimeter drain or weeping tile system. If this system isn't operating properly, you're going to end up with a wet basement or crawl space. So, here's the example of foundation with perimeter drain. Kung kabantay mo na sa inyong balay or sa mga balay nga nay mga pipes sa kilid, example na siya sa perimeter drain, or kanang kanal nga nay kabantay mo anang nay metal, also example of perimeter drain. Perimeter drain is something that also it is designed to prevent water from seeping into your basement. It is intended to attract water in the soil that has either accumulated from heavy rains, melting snows, or from rising groundwater. It then carries away the water or carries the water away from your house, so it is likely to seep in through your basement walls. So what are the advantages of peripheral drain system? First is it is easier to install in the internal side, and grouting can be easily opened using the screws for cleaning and other purposes. This makes periodic maintenance easy and time efficient. So the second one is cost effective and affordable than conventional systems. Lastly is proven performance under the varied condition and application. Interceptor drain. An interceptor drain is a subsurface drainage system involving drain pipe or drain tile laid in the trench between the building and uphill source of water. It intercepts the water and discharges it into ditch and storm sewer from the building. An interceptor drain, also known as curtain drain, is a drainage system that is installed to collect, channel, and remove surface and subsurface water within the permeable soil as it flows across the impermeable soil layer, typically installed in a trench along the contour of a slope. Interceptor drain are used to maintain soil stability and prevent soil erosion. In landscape application, interceptor drain are used to capture from groundwater from falling downhill onto the adjacent areas. So here's the example of or the components of interceptor drainage system. How an interceptor drain works. So it consists of drain pipes that are 4 inches or 100 millimeter diameter or larger pipes made of hard fibrous materials with holes, perforated thermoplastic pipe or clay tile spaced about 1/4 inch or 6 mm apart with the upper half of the joint covered. The fibrous fabric like material that cover the pipe is porous enough to allow water to penetrate, yet impermeable enough to prevent soil and gravel from clogging to the pipe. So how it works? The pipes are typically laid in the trench in a layer of gravel. They are covered with fibrous material and gravel, and then soil is backfilled over the pipe or tile. The drain must be installed at a slope so water flows into a sump, dry well, storm sewer, or low spot on the site. Whenever possible, this drain should not be connected to the sanitary sewer system. So that's all. Thank you.